Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Well, this is going to be insightful today. We're going to talk about something we all experience. Maybe you aren't aware of experiencing it at all times, but it happens to all of us. And I'm talking about dreams. We all have them. Sometimes we don't remember them, but a lot of times, as I understand it, there is insight as to what's going on in your mind based on those dreams. Let's dig in. She is a personal and professional coach, offers counseling, has written some amazing books, does public speaking, and has studied dreams as well. Dr. Joanne White is back with us. How are you doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me, Steve. How are you?
Wonderful. And it's great to have you back here. I'm sure I have done, like many of us, Googled what does my dream mean? And, you get a whole bunch of different things that come up. I don't know how accurate they are. Sometimes there's a common thread between different entries on websites about dreams. But overall, before we dig deeper into it, what can you tell us about our dreams?
Well, first, I want to respond a little bit to that.
Sure.
You just said, because I think there are some universal meanings to dreams, and dreams can be symbols and give you information to your subconscious, your unconscious, to so many different things. But and I've done a lot of dream work with people and helped some of my clients interpret their dreams. What's important is that even if there may be something like water could be symbolic of flow or the unconscious or whatever, but if you're terrified of water, that's not the answer for what your dream is telling you, and that's important, so it also has to be very specific to you, and that's what's amazing. There's so much incredible history about dreams in terms of many of the ancient cultures and how they utilize dreams. Oftentimes they would come into a community and discuss their dreams and talk about them, even believing that there was a large dream that could actually help the community change their lives. Animals dream. Many people don't realize that, but their animals dream too. Sometimes when you see your animal doing something weird, it could be that he or she is having a dream. And even what's fascinating to me is that artists, musicians, poets, Albert Einstein, by the way, who once said that his whole thing on relativity came from a dream that he had when he was younger, and he started to meditate on it, and he got a lot more information. So dreams, we may not remember them. I actually sometimes teach people how to remember them, which is important. We can get into that a little bit if we have time. But they can reveal certain information about your lives. They can help you in terms of moving forward. They can even help you determine what's going on. I had a dream once that actually I'm utilizing as a story because it just seemed so interesting, and it was took place in a whole other culture, a whole other time. Who knows? Maybe I was really there then, but I don't know.
Maybe you might want to do a past life regression at some point.
Well, I do that too.
Okay. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, we could get into that at some point. So what's fascinating is that they can also give us incredible information about our future. Some people have dreams about what's about to happen, and it may not even be something that's happening to them personally. It could be something that's going on in the world, and they're getting some insight in that. Dreams can also help us connect more to our higher power. So there's so many reasons and interesting things about dreams. They also help us. I'll share a personal story.
Sure.
I was a caregiver to my mother, and I was wondering if I needed to get her more help. Now, most dreams are very symbolic, but this was a very literal dream, okay? So before I went to sleep, I asked the question. I said, give me some guidance, da 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 da. about what I need to do for my mom. So in the dream, we're walking in New York. I'm holding my mother's hand. My sister and I are together. Holding my mother's hand, and we're walking, and suddenly her hand is not attached to her body. I'm just holding her hand, and get hysterical. I scream to my sister, "We got to go to the hospital. We got to go to the hospital." And I wake up. And when I calm down, this is very literal dream. And thought about what the dream was telling me, Steve. The dream said, your mother needs a helping hand. So I hired an aide.
Wow.
Now, there's one in history. Alexander Howe, who invented the sewing machine, was trying to figure out how to get it threaded. Okay. And he went to sleep. And in his dream, he was having what he thought was a nightmare. Okay. In his dream, Steve, he was being chased by cannibals who were going to eat him. They finally caught him. They put him in a very hot cauldron they were going to boil him and cook him. He's in the cauldron. He's trying to get out. They keep pushing him back with spears, and he's trying to get out, pushing him back with spears. He wakes up. His heart is palpitating. He's terrified. When he calms down, he realizes that the points to the spears had holes in them, and that was the solution that he was looking for in terms of threading the machine. So why a nightmare? Why with the same thing with me? Oftentimes, like you said, we don't remember our dreams. If it's something urgent, sometimes it makes you wake up and see something like that, so that you have to remember it so that you could pay attention.
I was just going to say that, to get your attention.
Right.
What's fundamentally going on when you have a dream and you get these, call them downloads? Is it your subconscious at work at that time?
It could be your subconscious. Yeah. I mean, like I said, so many people, artists, musicians, they get information, and other people can get information, but you can get information about your life, about moving forward, about a relationship that you're having. And sometimes we're not seeing that on a conscious level. So our subconscious mind is, hey, pay attention here. Take a look at that person you're going out with. I mean, yeah, whatever they're portraying in the dream. And oftentimes well, I don't know oftentimes, but in many urban interpretations, many of the characters in your dream can be an aspect of yourself, which I find very fascinating too. Now, you were mentioning something. Oftentimes, when a dream is repeated over and over again, that's a message that you have to pay attention to. And oftentimes people don't get it. Why did I have this dream for so many months or whatever? But I find it fascinating, because when we start really looking into the dreams and finding the meanings that make sense. Somebody said to me the other day, one of my clients, "Oh, I just had a dream. It's nothing." I said, "Well, let's pay attention to it. Let's look at it." When we did, it was fascinating, Steve, that the dream gave this person so much information about the direction that she was moving into in her life, and ideas and ways that she needed to move. And it was like, well, we don't think dreams have much, but look at so many things that they do have that can be an asset in our lives.
You said something before, and I want to dig into this.
By the way, I don't know what's going on with my background. So
It's a dream.
maybe it's a dream. There's another being coming
in a
up.
dream state. You said ask for the answer. So, or it sounded something similar to that. Should we be asking before we go to sleep for an answer to something that we're dealing with before we close our eyes? And maybe we would get it with the dream?
Well, I think so. See, I've been working with dreams for most of my life. I find them fascinating and did a lot of research on them and taught workshops on them. So that's one way. I mean, I also ask my inner guidance information too. Should I do X, Y, and Z? And I'll get the information in many different ways. But that's one vehicle for accessing information if you pay attention to your dreams.
There are some that believe that we're guided spiritually. Some call it your spirit team that lives or is in another realm, and they're guiding you if you ask for that guidance. Do you believe that?
I definitely do. I ask for that guidance all the time. Now, oftentimes when I work with clients, we talk to their higher power, their higher selves, which is part of who we are. Our higher selves is within us. Oftentimes, it's a guide that somebody wants to get information from, or an angel. And I believe we have them. I'll give you something very interesting. Years ago, I wanted to visit a friend. This is not a dream. Just going along with what you were just saying. I wanted to visit a friend, and there was a huge storm about to happen, and I had to cross a bridge and whatever. And so I asked, okay, should I go visit my friend Lenny? All right. So I'm walking. There's a truck that comes by. It has the letter C. It has LEN and then E something. So basically, I turn around just at that time. I see the truck. I see what it says, C Lenny. So I went and I was fine.
Let me make sure. Was that a dream, or you just asked for an answer and it appeared?
No, it's that we were talking about other guy.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done that before where I moved 3 years ago, and I just wondered if I made the right choice for a number of different reasons. And as I left where I was at this new place, I'm driving, and I'm on the same route every day, but I'm asking, just show me a sign. This is the right thing. I did the right thing. I get to the first light. I look up. There's just a complex of buildings, and on the side of the building was Victory. The words Victory, and was the name of a company. I'm like, I never saw that before. Okay, I'm going to take that. And side note, I've asked for signs from my mom, who passed 6 years ago. I get them. I'm very specific. I ask for specific, and I get them.
I think that's important that we can do that. You can get a sign in so many different ways, like on a truck, like other information in a book, a song, somebody calls up, there are many ways, and you have to be able to be open to the message. Now, now we're shifting from dreams, but that's okay. There's another important thing to that, and that is, if you pay attention to them, you'll get more of them. If you keep getting that inner guidance and you kind of shut it off, it's like if you keep calling a friend and they never answer, and you keep trying to contact them, after a while, why bother, right? That's the same thing. I don't think I shared this story with you. We're moving away from dreams, but one night I thought, and I feel very guided, so I really pay attention to my inner guidance. One night I was told to go to the store. It was late. I didn't need anything, but I followed my inner guidance. Tell me if I told you this, because it feels familiar that I said it to you. Okay, so I'm going out. I said, okay, I'm doing it. I go out, I go to the store, buy something, get back in the car, and it's a 4-lane road. And I'm driving in the direction, and suddenly in the middle of the road is a dog that's just lying there. If I were to continue, I would have driven over the dog. So I stop my car like a crazy, and I start honking my horn like a crazy woman. And I get out and I start doing some energy work on the dog. Somebody comes over, brings me a blanket. Somebody comes up. So a policeman comes over, says to me, hit the dog. I said, no. He starts directing traffic. We save the dog. We get somebody else who has an emergency vet, and that's why I was told to get out to go to
Wow.
the store.
We need to listen. Like you said, it's like a friend calling. The friend is your intuition, I believe, or
Right.
spirit guide, whatever you believe in.
Right.
You're getting a call. Pick it up. I'll share with you. I don't know if this is connected to my mom, but I said, this is less than a year ago, but I was like, yeah, send me a sign. It's been a while. Send me a sign. I'm overdue to get a sign, by the way, Mom, just saying. And I get a new modem underneath this desk right here. The company, cable company comes in, puts it down, walks out. Great. First of all, I made a phone call to get a new modem, and I saved like $100. So thank you, Mom, for that. Flip the modem over, and there's the automatically generated password. It's 4 digits dash rows dash 2 digits. That's her name. I get that all the time. So, and
It's
a
her
laser.
saying hello.
It's right on the wall. That's my Wi-Fi password up there.
Right.
So what's the numbers mean? Why 4 digits and then there's 2 at the end? Every time I add them up and move them around, it's 7 and 11. 7 and 11. Stop me if I've ever told you this, but I'm like, I don't know what it is. My youngest daughter said, maybe it's your dad. Now he passed when I was 21. Sudden heart attack dropped. And my parents got divorced when I was very, very little. That maybe, I don't know, 7-Eleven, what's going on with that? And then I was like, oh, he passed on 7-Eleven.
There you go.
And the digits add up to 7. He was born on 3-4. I take it as a sign to go to the cardiologist. Never been. Go to one. Walk in. Woman at the counter for the intake. She's wearing a shirt with a name on it, and her name is Rose. I'm like, I'm supposed to be here. It's like,
yeah.
You can't make it up.
No, and I have worked with people that say, "Oh, that butterflies or symbols, or whatever." There's always one bird, not me. One of my clients said, "There's always one bird that appears," and this bird showed up right after my sister died. She said, and every time I'm thinking about her, somehow that bird seems to show up or whatever. So it's fascinating. When my mother first died, the lights downstairs would go on and off and on and off. And I thought that was her saying hello. I mean, we don't know. We're not getting, it was specific, but it felt right.
Address that. Let's go there. You don't know, but if you search within, I believe you'll know.
Right. And
you'll have a feeling.
Right. And I totally agree. And I think that's so very important to pay attention. We have a subconscious mind, an unconscious mind. We have helpers, and it's about learning all of the aspects of ourselves to help, because they're here to help us and guide us and move forward. And it's fascinating when we do that. And it adds to more of a sense of life fulfillment.
You have to be open to it. And I believe a lot of us aren't. And even the dreams, you ask for, I need an answer, please go to bed. You have a dream or you want a sign. It may not be the sign you're looking for. Like, show me your butterfly. That's going to do it for me. All right, great. If that supports you. It might not be a butterfly. Don't laugh, but it could be a stick of butter and a fly. There may, I'm being kind of goofy here, but there's, that's, you don't know what it's going to be, but you have to, and it's not like I'm looking for it. Like, I want to see. I just sit back and let it unfold.
And I think that's the best way to do it, because again, you can get information about so many things. About that dog, I had no intention of going out, but I trust my inner guidance. One time, again, I usually have a pretty same or familiar route that I go when I do my morning power walks. And this time I was guided to go somewhere else. And I found a bird that needed to be helped. Another time I was guided somewhere else and I found a $20 bill. I mean, it's like, oh, thank you. Thank you.
You, you just brought back a memory. I remember I needed to buy my daughter a new monitor. I went to a computer show and I was like, just show me the right one to buy, but I really don't have the money for it. I'm not even kidding. I'm walking in. I look down on the ground. There's $100 bill. I'm like,
Isn't it amazing? Yeah. Yeah.
like, all right. The skeptics, coincidence? I'm going to say, yeah, potentially. But what are the chances of asking and getting at that moment? That minimizes my skepticism, and I'm a skeptic like anybody else. When I ask for a sign for my mother, and it's her name, and it shows up, that's one of many. I choose to believe that that's legit. Could it be a coincidence? Sure.
It could be, but
It could
isn't
be.
it? But again, doesn't it feel great when you're asking a question or when you're getting information and it corroborates something that's going on in your life or something that could happen? I actually work with a client who foresaw something in her dream that was actually going to happen in the world. And her dream was terrifying, disturbing. I'm not going to go into more detail than that, but she was getting that information. Now, she didn't really know, but when it happened, it was like, oh, wow, that's what I was being told.
To your point, and I believe in psychics, the legit ones. There's,
I agree.
many scammers out there. Um, it was 20 something years ago. The psychic wanted to be on my radio show. She would always ask, can I come on? Can I come on? Like, one day I was like, all right, just come on. All right, just be. I'm thinking she's a little kooky, but all right, let's have her on. She makes a prediction that there's going to be something of worldwide proportions, a tragedy taking place. That was at about 7:30 in the morning. And I was like, wow, okay. And we take a couple of calls, and she was pretty accurate with listeners and everything. That morning at 9/11 took place. It was that morning. Coincidence?
Who knows? I was once told I could do psychic readings. That's not what I do, but I can't sense information for people and just get that. But no.
I believe you can because you tuned into your intuitiveness.
Right. And I believe that we all have that capacity. I
You
think
do.
we have the capacity for so much more than we realize. Now, a
I
lot
do
of
too.
people, like you said, are naysayers. They don't believe in that, or they don't want to, or they don't care, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But when you open up to that world, to me, it enriches your life.
Yeah. And you're using what you got. We all were given this ability.
Yes,
The
that's
gut
it.
feeling, the intuition. I don't claim to be even a little bit, but last Tuesday, my friend's like, I lost my wallet. I can't believe I lost my wallet. I'm like, dude, it's in your car. I looked everywhere. It's not. It's in your car. I literally saw a picture of it in my
Yeah.
mind.
And you were getting that information. But see, we do have that ability.
Friday, I got a text. Yeah, I found this in my car.
Thank you so much. Right.
It's like coincidence, of course it could be, but I saw it in my mind. I like under the seat or in between the console and the seat. And it's like, and I had no question about it. It's in your car. Just go look. You'll find it.
Abraham Lincoln actually dreamed of his assassination before it happened.
Wow.
Now, obviously, he didn't do anything about it or would. And again, we don't know when we're having those dreams. Are they real? Do I just not pay attention to them? Or is it something to scare me? Is there truth in. But if you really are working with these kinds of things, it's about, well, maybe there's something in that I need to
Hmm.
be careful about, right?
Joanne, we got like 20 seconds, if possible. You said before you could share how to remember our dreams.
Okay. So before you go to sleep, tell your mind, I want to dream. I'm going to remember my dream, and that's it. Now, when we wake up, usually if you wake up to an alarm or you jump out of bed or, whatever, you're not in that in-between state. But if you stay for a moment in the in-between state, which between sleeping and waking, you may get some information. And what I say, and I've helped people interpret even a little snippet. So when you're waking up, what's the feeling that you get?
When you wake up,
when you're still in that in-between state, what's the feeling that you're getting as to what just happened, in the dream or whatever? Even if it's a tiny little bit, write it down. Write down what the feeling is. Write down whatever information you get and then call me.
I love it.
Being playful, but
I learn more and more every time we get together, and the different layers of you that run very deep. And these things I had no idea, even past life regressions and that kind of stuff. You run very deep in a good way.
Well, if you would like, we could do something. Well, we can't. I don't know if we could do it on the show, but I can do a past life regression with you. I actually, just FYI, the reason I got into past life regression was because I was having these dreams they were kind of nightmarish, but they were so vivid and they had nothing to do with this lifetime. And I thought, something's going on here. I have to figure it out. So I did a lot of research. And interestingly enough, won't go into the detail, but I actually have a client who was in that past life with me. Now, I didn't know that when we first started, but but you find out these things, right?
And some believe that there's no coincidence. There are coincidental incidents.
Right. I like that.
Maybe that's why the two of you were put together, because you're connected in another life.
Right.
I'm open for anything, and I believe there's a certain time period that I did exist, and I won't even tell you what it is because I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna throw any breadcrumbs out there. I want to know if that's what comes up, but I'm sort of convinced that there's a certain time period that resonates with me. I wonder if I existed back then. I don't know. How do we find you, Joanne? What's the best way?
Okay, so my website, drjoannewhite.com, Joanne with an E. You can email me. I'm on social media, Joanne at docwhite, docwhite.org. That's a shorter version. And I'm open to helping people. I'm here to serve. I believe that. Somebody said to me, "You're still working?" I said, "Yeah, why should I stop? I'm enjoying it. I'm helping people and I'm feeling good in the process, and why not?" Right?
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
It is. And I'm the same exact way. I have, friends that are retiring, and, congratulations, God bless. If I could, I don't know if I would, but I'm not going to. Not happening anytime soon. Don't even know what it means. Because we do what we love. We do what we love. Thank you for today. Learned a lot, and keep dreaming. Literally.
And you too.
Yes. All right. We'll catch up soon. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.